Welcome to the Business for London video on using Instagram to showcase your business. In this video, we'll be looking at how to use Instagram to promote your business, how to build community, who to follow, targeting prospects. We'll also look at the importance of researching your hashtags and using the right ones in your posts. I'll give you some advice on images and filters. We'll look at stories. We'll also look at boomerangs and reels. We'll then talk a little bit about analytics and paid advertising. Now, at the time of making this video, there are 34.71 million users on Instagram in the UK alone. It's a great place to showcase your products and services. You can inspire your prospects. Instagram, of course, is all about instant capture of videos and images and then posting live. You can post with your location if that's something you need to do, and it's a very easy platform to use. Now, before you start, it's important to define your target audience. You need to know whether they're likely to be on Instagram before you start using it. You need to understand who your customers are. You need to understand what their pain points are. In other words, what you're solving for them. We talk about target audience, but also you need to think about drilling down to specific customer types. If you think about a brand like Nike, they would produce outdoor and fitness related content because they're selling to people that do sports. Their target audience, or indeed their specific customers, are not going to be people that don't need to buy their products on a regular basis. They want to sell to people that are doing sports that may need to replace their trainers, for example, every 6 months to a year. They won't be targeting people who are only buying a pair of trainers every 10 years. Now, the image on the screen at the moment shows the target audience and the buyer persona. You start with your target audience because it's a broader definition. Marketing managers here between 30 and 45 years old. They work at large companies. We have a broad definition of their annual salary. And over here, though, we start drilling down to who those people actually are. And here we're saying that they're actually postgraduates in digital marketing, under a lot of pressure at work and so on. A more specific definition of who we want to sell to. Characteristics such as where they shop, where they go on holiday, and so on. Think about who could be good introducers for you. List companies that have the same target market as you. Connect with them. What sort of content are they sending out? What are they solving for their customers? Is there an opportunity to help each other cross-promote? If you were to talk about a gym, for example, and a company selling sports gear, is there an opportunity for the gym to recommend the sports shop where people can buy their trainers, for example? And for those people coming in to buy some gear, could the sports shop be recommending the gym as a place they could join? Who are your competitors? List companies that do the same thing as you. Check out their profiles on Instagram. Have a look at what sort of content they're sending out. Are they getting great engagement? What are they doing really well? What aren't they doing really well? Do you want to try sending out similar content to the content that's getting great engagement? If they're not getting great engagement on some of their content, then perhaps that's the type of content you want to avoid sending out. So here's some tasks for you on Instagram. Make a list of your competitors. Find them on Instagram. If you can't find them on Instagram, you can try going to their websites and seeing if there's a link on their website to their Instagram accounts. Specifically list the hashtags they're using, because they're hashtags that you are going to want to use in your posts. In order to do this, type what you do. List the hashtags that look relevant. For example, if you're a photographer, you're going to find hashtags such as photography and photograph. Interestingly, on Instagram, it's one of the only platforms where you can actually follow hashtags. By following hashtags, you will see all the content that's being posted using that hashtag. You might even want to follow it for a while before you start using it in your own posts. By doing that, you'll be able to work out whether it's the right hashtag for you to use. You'll also want to follow and use hashtags and the related ones that your target audience are most likely to follow as well. But whenever you're creating any sort of content for any platform, including Instagram, you need to think about who you're trying to sell to. Whatever you're creating in terms of content, whether it's images or videos, and the captions that go with them, everything needs to resonate with your audience. Here's a few ideas for the type of content you might want to produce for Instagram. You might want to give people a sneak peek of some products that you're developing. You might want to take people behind the scenes in your office, for example. People often love those types of videos where you give them a tour of what's going on behind the scenes. You might want to make a feature of some of your staff members. You might also want to share content from events that you're attending. Things that inspire you can be great content for Instagram. You might want to share your blog posts that you're writing on your website. You can't link directly from a post on Instagram, so you would put link in the bio. And so you'd go into your bio and you'd add the link to the blog post there. You might want to run competitions or offer giveaways to nurture people towards your business. So there are a number of features in Instagram, one of which is stories. Stories are available for 24 hours. They can be photos or videos, unless you add them as a highlight. Once you've created a story, you can select the option to add them as a highlight, which means they get added to your profile indefinitely until you decide you want to remove them. Ordinarily though, they are only available for 24 hours, and the great thing about them is that they sit at the top of your profile. They're a great way to promote your products and services, and of course, because they're called stories, it's a great option to tell a story. You can highlight customers, you might even highlight employees, for example, as well. As I said, they sit at the top of your profile. In other words, they skip the line in your followers' feeds. They don't form part of your actual home feed. They actually sit right at the top of your profile, which makes it easy for people to engage with them. The stories feed is always there, sitting right at the top of your screen, and so you have to worry less about the algorithms that affect reach. I've got a little how-to as part of the presentation here, but I'm going to show you how to actually do all of this in Instagram itself. Just one thing to bear in mind though is that Instagram changes very, very frequently. So where I show you things are today may not be exactly where they are in the future. Functionality is always updated and added to Instagram, and so there will be things available going forward that may not be available right now. At the moment, to create a story, you basically tap at the top on your logo, or you can swipe right anywhere in your feed. You choose story from the bottom of the screen, and then you tap on the camera button to take a photo. Alternatively, you can hold your finger on the camera button and it will record a video. You can then add text or stickers or even draw on your photo or video before you share it. To add it to your story, once you've done everything that you want to do using these tools up here, you tap add it to your story, or you can share it with people that you're connected to on Instagram, close friends, or you can click this arrow at the bottom and you'll get the option to either share it to your story and also message it to someone privately, or you can just share it to close friends and also send it to someone privately as well. So it's either story and message or close friends and message. And then once your friend sees it, the image will disappear. Boomerangs are very similar to an animated GIF. They are looping videos that play for 6 seconds. They are made out of a 1-second video clip. To create them, you swipe right or you go into your story. You click the boomerang icon, which is this one. You press the camera button and it will record whatever you're doing for 1 second. You can then post it to your feed or add it to your story. Now, reels are a great function of Instagram, and the benefit of creating a reel is that they don't vanish after 24 hours as a story does. Users will be able to view and share them for a much longer time. Reels help to build brand awareness and exposure for your company. They include a great range of video editing tools as well. You can add music, you can change the speed, you can also remix reels that already exist, and you can combine your own video with reels that are already on Instagram, for example. We have some great downloads available for you on the Business for London website. We have one that will show you how to add a link to your bio to be able to link out to your website or to your blog posts. We also have one on remixing reels into a duet so that you can perform a duet with someone else's reel if they've made it available for that function. Reels are usually videos that are 60 to 90 seconds in length. If you want to see reels that already exist on Instagram, you basically click on the reels icon, and then as you swipe up, you'll see other people's reels that are on Instagram. You can like, comment, and share reels with people that you're connected to. The 3 dots here that are on reels will give you a bunch of other options. And as I mentioned before, when you're on your home feed, you just swipe right as if you're creating your own story and select reel from the bottom, click record, click next, add anything else that you want to, such as text or music or audio. You can even add audio that you may have previously found on Instagram and saved. And then basically you go through to the next part where you can share your reel. So let's go and take a look on Instagram itself and have a look at some of these functions live. Okay, so I'm going to show you around some of the functions that we've just talked about. How to create stories, how to create boomerangs, and how to create reels on Instagram. So let's start with the story. As you can see at the top of the screen here, the great thing is that of course these are the stories of people that we're connected to. And so, as I mentioned before, the great thing about this is that they're not in your feed. You can instantly see them when you log into Instagram, and you can easily engage with them from here. Similarly, if we create our own stories, then of course they will sit at the top of the profile for the people that we're connected to, the people that follow us. I'm going to just click on story. You can either click on story from here, or as I mentioned earlier, you can swipe across to the right. And here I am. As you can see, I'm on my Instagram account. You can see me. I can just take a photograph of myself by tapping on the button, the big brown button at the bottom, or I can hold the button down, and of course that will start to record video with me. I've come into story initially, but at the bottom here, as you can see, there's the option to change to post or reel, or actually go live on Instagram as well. So I'm going to just record a little bit of content. I'll take a photograph first. There's a photo. And the photo, now I can do things like adding text. I can add stickers, I can add music, I can change effects. I'll try the effects, for example. You scroll across here and it will change the effects on my photo. Okay, and when I'm happy with what I've produced, I just simply click done, and I can add other effects if I want to from the top here. And then I can either share it directly to my story, which means it will stay there for 24 hours, plus anything else that I add during that period of time. Or I can send it to people that I'm connected to on Instagram here, or I can go into the arrow here and I can share it either to my story and message it privately to someone on Instagram, or I can share it with close friends, which are connections, and also message someone privately. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to swipe this down to come out of this, and that's taking me back to where I was. Okay, so that's how you create a story. Let's do a little reel now. So I'm going to use the X at the top of the profile here. This will give me the option to discard it. Actually, while I think of it, this is a great way to learn how to use Instagram, to try out the different options, to try out the different effects. And it gives you the opportunity to do this if you click on the X, just to try stuff out and then just discard it. Up here, just so you know, there's some other options in the three little dots. I could actually save this image as it is to my camera roll, for example, and then I could use it later on, just bring it into Instagram with a series of other images, for example, that I've created. And that's a great way to use Instagram's tools to create content that you might want to post at a later date. Let's click save on that. Great, it's gone into my camera roll. Okay, I'm going to click X to come out, and I'm back to where I was. Now all I need to do if I want to create a reel is to start recording. So I'm going to click over to reel at the bottom, right at the bottom, and then I'm going to hold the button down and I'm going to record some video. And as you can see, it's gone into record mode. I'm recording a little bit of video so that I can use it as part of this video demonstration to show you what we can do with a reel. Okay, I'm going to release my finger now, and I've got a reel. If I want to make any changes before I was to record, I could do that, but I'm going to just click next for now. I'm going to turn my volume off so that you can see it and you can hear me. Here I can add, after the fact, text, stickers, music. An important thing to note is that you can't use music on a business account. You will have to find original music either outside on a royalty-free site, or just create video without music. Music is restricted to personal accounts only. After making changes to my video and adding whatever I'd like to, I can click the arrow that will be at the top of the screen, or next, and I can add a caption to go out with my post, and hashtags. I can tag people if I want to. I can add a location of where I'm posting, and then I would share it and it would go out as a reel. Okay, it would go out onto the feed of reels, and I'll show you where that is next. So I'm going to just go back because I don't want to post this. Use the arrow at the top here. I'm going to just scroll down on my video, go back here, and I'm going to use the X at the top of the screen on the left hand side to go back to my home feed. Click start again, and then X again, and I'm back to where I was. If you want to have a look at other people's reels on Instagram, you click the reels button here, and you will see Just turn that down so you can hear me. You can see if I scroll up all the other reels that other people have created, and there's a bunch of options here where I can like, I can comment, I can share with other people, and then I've got the three dots here. Three dots here give me options for me to be able to do things like save the reel for later, and there's a few other things here. It's exactly the same process to create any other content on Instagram. I swipe quickly to the right, for example here. This one here is Boomerang. So I click on Boomerang, and as I press record, it will literally record a second of what I'm doing. So if I do, okay, you can see exactly what that does. My advice to you is, try and think of something that you might be able to use it for. I personally don't use them because I can't really think of what to use 1 second of video for, but it's a fun little thing, and I'm sure you've seen other people use it. Again, look at what your competitors are doing and try and find out what they're doing well. I'm going to click at X at the top here because I don't want to keep it. Discard and go back. I can click post at the bottom there as well. If I go back here, I can see my camera roll. I can use the X at the top and it will take me back to my feed. A few other things that we should probably mention are things like the search function here. Here you can search by subject, such as photography. You can refine your searches by For You, which is what Instagram thinks you'd be interested in. You can also use accounts to find other accounts who are doing what you're doing. You can have a look at Reels. You can search by audio. And of course you can search by tags, which is something that's well worth doing. Don't just go for the high numbers of posts. So don't just use the hashtags that have high numbers associated with them. It's well worth looking at a variety of hashtags. Even ones with lower numbers of posts may mean that it's less busy and it's easier to be seen when you're using that hashtag. Make sure you also build community on Instagram by searching for accounts, introducers, strategic partners, people that you've met on courses, people that you've met at networking events. Make sure that you connect with other Instagram accounts. You will also want to have a look at your competitors' accounts, and it might be worth following some of their followers, because if they're interested in what your competitors are doing, there's a good chance they'll be interested in what you're doing. Obviously, if they're private accounts, probably best not to follow, but certainly if they're business accounts, it's well worth following them. Instagram is always evolving to compete with other apps like TikTok, of course. The video tab has been merged with the Reels tab now, and since July 2022, any video that's less than 15 minutes long is automatically added as a reel. Videos that are uploaded to Instagram can be up to 60 minutes long now. Having said that, unless you're producing something that people are really going to want to watch, I wouldn't recommend that you produce videos that are as long as 60 minutes. The only videos that most people would watch would be something like a tutorial, and even then it might be worth splitting it into smaller chunks rather than one whole hour at a time. I mentioned earlier that you can broadcast live on Instagram. When someone you follow shares a live broadcast, their profile picture will have a colourful ring around it, and it says that they're live. Going live is a real skill, and I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you are someone who can really pull it out of the bag and deliver without any hesitation. Let's just talk about some of the best practice tips for Instagram. You need to follow other people. Of course, you have to search for relevant people to follow. Unless there's a reason not to, make sure that you follow back. It's part of the etiquette. Engage with others by liking and commenting on their posts, and always use high resolution images. Include hashtags in your posts, up to 30 at a time. Research and follow the best ones, as I mentioned earlier. Include geotags if you're a local business and you want to sell to local people. The only live link, as I mentioned earlier, is in the profile, so you may want to consider linking to your blog instead, as it's more dynamic. Don't be over salesy. People rarely buy from people that are using pushy sales tactics. You can use Instagram direct message to speak to your most engaged fans directly. Direct message is private. You can speak to them up to 15 at a time, and you might even want to speak to them based on location. Post to other profiles. For example, you can post to Facebook. Now, it's really important that you test and measure everything that you do to inform your future strategy. That's not just on Instagram, that's on every single platform that you use. You'll find insights on Instagram, that's what the analytics are called. you'll find them in your profile, generally speaking. If you click on your profile at the bottom of the screen, you'll go into your profile where your bio is. And if you go to the menu, you'll find your insights. I'll show you where that is. So you go to your profile down here, use the menu at the top, and you will see your insights are here. And this will tell you how many followers you're reaching, how many accounts are engaged with your content, how many followers you have, and so on and so forth. I recommend that you look at your insights at least on a monthly basis. It will tell you things such as the accounts engaged. Let's have a look at that one. Shows you that your content is being engaged with. 86.5% here are followers, and there are other people that are non-followers also seeing our content and engaging with it. You can come down here, it will show you a bit of information about the engagement on your posts. You can change the date range in here if you want to. If you look at your followers, for example, it tells you where they're based, their age group, and it even tells you things like their gender. Accounts reached at the top there. Lots of useful information here to tell you what's working and what isn't. And last but not least, I want to mention Instagram advertising. Many companies make use of paid advertising on Instagram. If you want to set up an Instagram advert, it looks a bit like this. You tell Instagram where you want to send people when they see your ad. If you want them to go to your profile on Instagram, take them to your website or to your shop front, for example, an e-commerce website. You choose your audience, who you want to target. You'll set up your budget and then you'll pay. Just to show you where that is, I'm going back into my profile here, and if I go to my menu up here and back to my insights, you will see here the ad tools. I can use one of the posts I've already sent out, for example my latest top post. We then set up an ads account, either using a Facebook ads account or without a Facebook ads account, and we continue, and it will start taking you through the process of setting up the advert. I'm not going to go through this, but this is just so you know where it is if you ever decide that you want to try out some paid advertising. I'm going to cancel for now. So the final points I want to make are that Instagram is probably the best platform for image and video based content. If you just want to look at video content, then of course there are other options such as YouTube and TikTok. The interesting thing about Instagram though is that it is one of the preferred platforms. 80% of the users on Instagram follow at least one business account. There are over 500 million daily active users, and over a third of the users on Instagram have bought products via Instagram. Their advertising platform has access to some of the most advanced social media targeting options available. Because it's now one of the most popular social media platforms, it's a great way to build stronger relationships with existing customers and prospects. Instagram is a great place for those of you selling consumer-based products or services. It doesn't mean that it won't work for people selling to other businesses, but it is very much a consumer-based platform where people go for lifestyle-related products such as fitness, health, diet, fashion. So if you're unsure if it will work for you, it might be worth just giving it a try anyway. I wish you all the very best of luck with it. Thank you.